what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is
SPTV.
Welcome everyone for some more SPTV on our Monday night live stream. We have two people who've never been on a Monday Night Live before. That is Sara Seltzer and Mark Fisher. And of course, we have Lara Anderson, Lara FM. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Okay, so I have not seen or spoken with at all Sara Seltzer for over 15 years. We were both in the Sea Org together. We were both at ASHO in LA. Sara, I didn't even know you were in that Going Over the Rainbow documentary until I watched it for the first time last week. And I was like, Sara Seltzer? Oh my God. And then Lara and I did a chat about that documentary a few days ago. And she was like, Sarah's coming to visit. I was like, you're kidding me. So anyway, what has been going on with you for the last 15 plus years?
Oh, you mean aside from deprogramming myself and stripping away all the tendrils?
Yeah, like honestly, I don't even remember when the last time in the Sea Org I even so I left the Sea Org in 2006. You were still there, right?
I feel like you were still there when I left. Yeah, no. You were still there when I left. Yeah.
And then I didn't even know until Lara started talking about all the ranchers recently that were you at the Int Ranch?
No, I was never at the Int Ranch. I knew a lot of the ranchers though. I was at the FLO EPF originally when I joined. So especially there, a lot of ranchers, end up going to FLO. So I'm close and intimate with many of them, or at least I was. But
well, I'll tell you what. Before I start interrogating you too deeply here, let's do we'll go around the clock here and we'll do an introduction. So, Sara, just tell everyone kind of your history in Scientology, whether you're born in it, like at what age you joined staff, joined the Sea Org, and when you left.
Okay. Yeah. So I was born into Scientology, but I wasn't really fully introduced to it. Like I got auditing when I was younger, but I didn't know about it until 4th grade, around 11 years old. I was actually put into a Scientology school. And of course, that's where you get a lot of recruitment, people coming to the Scientology school specifically. And then I was taking courses and getting auditing. I had a really gnarly ethics cycle, which actually made me want to just leave my family. And I ended up joining the Sea Org to do something good. Literally, I was 13 when I was assigned, and then, went in at 14. Yeah, and then I was in the Sea Org for almost 2 years. So it was a short stint in there. And then I came out and I was in and out of kind of Scientology realm for a while until about my 20s when I had a nervous breakdown and severely cut ties by being institutionalized. So
wow. How did your family? Because your parents are Scientologists, right?
My father's still a Scientologist. Yeah, my mother isn't.
Was your mom at the time?
She was on good terms at the time. So she was still considered a Scientologist, though she wasn't active, while my father was active. And him and somebody else actually tried to come and get me out of the facility that I was being held in. But they wanted me to sign a paper that said I was a Scientologist, and I wouldn't. And it was actually, I was aware enough that I had cognitive dissonance with what I was raised to believe and what I actually experienced. And then, and especially then just in that moment being, it was a strange place to be because it was like a break, and I was aware of it, but I couldn't quite pin my finger on it. And all I knew was no, Scientology needs to stay over there right now while I go through this process. And so I didn't sign the papers.
Wow. Are you aware if you're officially declared a suppressive person?
I am. I am, very much.
And how long ago would you say that occurred?
I can almost pinpoint it. I was so I'm 35 right now, and I think I was 28 years old when I got the calls where they were threatening me if I didn't come in and get handled, that I would be declared. And then my father gave me a call and said if I didn't come in, I was being declared and he was cutting me off. So I know it was right around then. Of course, they aren't sending any paperwork anymore, so I never got the official, but yeah.
I have the paper. I have an SP declare in writing.
What year was that?
1991.
Yeah, they got smarter.
Yeah, there's a time, and I would only, Aaron, I would say it's only the last, like, maybe, I'm stretching it, 5 years that they stopped giving the goldenrod.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I was declared in 2014, so that's 9 years ago, and they were already not giving people their goldenrods. They were
Did
still
they
printing
show you
them.
yours?
Oh, I've never been shown mine. No.
Me neither.
I've never even been informed by Scientology that I'm declared. I didn't get a letter. I didn't get an email. I didn't get.
You should try to go back in
or a phone call. I'd be like, "Hey, if it's not written, it's not true, bro."
Hey.
Well, one of my high crimes was not handling my in basket. That's how specific my SP declare was.
I've had it. Yeah.
So Sarah,
I will point out all my
when you were,
promiscuous,
being threatened with declare and all that,
Yeah.
What was it for specifically, if you can tell us?
So I I posted, supposedly it was LRH's great grandson or grandson who did beat poetry about what it was like. Have you seen that before?
Jamie DeWolf, yeah.
Yeah. And I posted that when I was still active on Facebook, and I posted it, and it was Scott Schmidecki.
Schmidecki
wrote me up. Yeah, I had a feeling some people know Scott. She wrote me up.
That poor little kid.
I know.
So abused in the Sea Org. I have the best story to tell later. I don't want to interrupt you. Okay, so you posted a link to Jamie DeWolf's anti-Scientology beat poetry. Scott Schmidecki, what, he wrote you up?
He wrote me up, yeah.
Little son of a bitch.
Yeah, he wrote me up. But then here's the thing. I remember a very specific conversation with my father at an Indian restaurant on Silver Lake Boulevard in LA. And we were talking, and it was like I was trying to tell him like what I experienced, like why I'm not going there. I'm not going, like I don't want anything to do with it. And not to say even it was bad. It was like, this is what I experienced, and it was fucked up. And it was like he wouldn't, acknowledge that it was fucked up. He couldn't go and say like, oh no, Scientology was the container that happened in, And then I said something like, well, it's like, you don't know. And then I stopped. He's like, what? No, what? I don't know. I'm brainwashed if I'm brainwashed. And I was like, yep. And I remember I like ran out of the restaurant. So I know that my father, being very close with them, though, was reporting these conversations, whether it was just to somebody, like I'm aware of the fact that even in my relationship with them, there was a dialogue that was happening. So I believe it wasn't just that, because my father would say that it was because I was black PRing them, and I was like, but no, literally, Dad, it was like this link. That's all I put up. And this is why they wanted to clear. And he's like, no, it was like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I'm telling you, this is what it is. Like, I didn't do anything, aside from the fact of like trying to tell your story, right? Like with each one of us, it's like, we're just like, this was our experience. And what's wrong about sharing your experience and your story and what you lived through, and then what you can offer to other people. So, yeah.
I don't even know what it is you experienced, because you and I have literally never spoken, but and we don't have to get into the whole thing right here, because that's not necessarily the purpose of the Monday Night Lives, but we'll have to talk. I remember when you showed up to the Sea Org, you were this tiny little thing. I describe you as a pixie, because you said you were 14. I mean, shit, you could have been 12. I mean, you were just the tiniest little thing. And you were always so bubbly and such a good mood. I had no idea where you came from. And I was like, they threw you into the tech call-in unit under Dave Horwedel and Melissa Palzer. And I was like, how in the hell? I said, there's one post I would literally refuse to do in the Sea Org if I was ever forced to do it. And it was tech call-in. I was like, you could not make me. I mean, you couldn't. I'd go to the RPF before I would work in tech call-in, and I would never go to the RPF. And I was like, somehow she's in there. Somehow she continues to be in a good mood. Somehow, and the tech call-in unit was like the worst pressure cooker place to be in. A lot of old timers are going to like some of the names that we name. Paul Disher was the DCO. the DCO DNE for ASHO, and he would run that tech calling unit directly. I had nothing to. It's the one department that was under me that I had nothing to do with. I never went in there. Well, I would come in there just to say hi, right?
Yeah.
Is Paul Disher Max Disher's or any relation to Max Disher? Really? Okay.
Yeah, he's his dad, although I've never seen the two of them ever communicate to each other.
I didn't know that. I thought Max was just like a random cadet that randomly got lucky not having his parents in the Sea Org. I
thought
never
he was like a Scientology test tube baby or something. No.
Yeah. I was like, oh, Max, he's kind of funny all the time, but not really serious.
So anyway, that's just crazy. I mean, honestly, I couldn't. When you popped up in that documentary, I was like, what? I forgot. Like, where has Sara Seltzer been all along? But anyway, we'll have to.
And Aaron texted me, was that Sara Seltzer? I'm like, yup. I was like, yeah, she's one of my best friends.
And can I just say, and I know you guys already talked about it, but I just have to say, they took the very few somewhat kind of positive things I said. So that was basically all they used in that documentary. Not the moments I was crying and then they were telling me that I needed to get therapy afterwards. Like saying, I think you should go see if they didn't include any of that. I just want to be clear about that I had like some major processing and tears when I did that documentary. And then all they put in were my like mildly okay, neutral, or maybe even a little positive that I said that I've processed much further than, at this point. But
so weird.
All right, we just clear that. Aaron, do you want to clear that up really quick, or no?
We're gonna clear that up after we finish going around the clock, and just because not everyone.
I was going to say that's what's great about SPTV is that there's no editing. You can say what you want, and it doesn't end up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Mark Fisher, even though it's easy for us to assume everybody must already know who you are, considering how often I talk about your and Janice's channel. And speaking of the channel, guys, this is the Mark Fisher of the YouTube channel, Our Scientology Stories, Peeling the Onion. You can subscribe to him over there. Just give everyone a quick, brief rundown, Mark, of your sort of history timeline in Scientology, if you
Sure. Yeah, no, I got in Scientology. My dad got in when I was 15 years old. This is in the 1970s, like 1973, 74. I'm going to be 65 years old next month. But I got in when I was 14, 15 years old. And I was a public Scientologist in Washington, D.C. And I did, I got a lot of my auditing and did training. And then I graduated from high school and I met a guy named Greg Wilhere, who was he's a famous, or we're not famous, he's an infamous executive in Scientology in the Sea Org. And he talked me into joining the Sea Organization rather than going to college. So I went and joined the Sea Organization in Clearwater, Florida. And then I was in there until September 1990. The last 6 years that I was in the Sea Organization, I ran David Miscavige's office up at the Int base. I was the corporate liaison in charge, and that was my office, and I set it up. And I had staff that worked for me that handled all of David and Shelly's personal items, administrative items, and then I was his main man at Gold, getting them to produce their lectures and their films and that type of thing. And I finally left in September 1990 after we saw the abuse starting, and after he physically attacked me. About a month or so after that, I basically decided it was time for me to leave. So I took off. And Janice Grady and her husband took off about a month before that. And we eventually hooked up here in Las Vegas, and we've been here ever since. But after we left, of course, then Miscavige didn't leave us alone. They sent in private investigators to our company that we were working at, and a guy who became my friend for almost 10 years, reporting everything that I did to Scientology. And that ended in 2009 when we spoke out in the Truth Rundown series at the Tampa Bay Times, SP Times, and that's that. And then we started our channel just like 3 months ago. So
wow. Well, hey, please remember we have to talk about how you met Greg Wilhere, because I'm dying to hear that story. Okay. I want to know more about that. And of course, we have the one and only Lara FM, aka Lara Anderson, aka Megan Anderson, if you knew her in Scientology.
How cool are you? How close are you to me? Do you know me as Megan as well? Also, I was going to say, right when you introduced me, Sara will love this. It was 1111, exactly 1111,000. Now it's way more people watching, like listening and watching. It was 1,000, 11. We love the 111s and the 222s. Don't blame us. We're a little cuckoo, That's how we get away with everything.
Oh my goodness. And
Like,
you can
hi,
find
thank you. I am here.
Hi, Lara. You can subscribe to Lara FM on YouTube at Lara FM, or Lara. The handle is at Lara Anderson Official. Okay, so let's see. There's so many different places we could go on this. So, Sara, help everyone understand. Was Tech Callin the only place you were posted in the Sea Org? Like, was it 2 years of Tech Callin?
No. So actually, I was on the FLO EPF for 6 months because I tried to get off of it. And Ben Monahan, who was the EPF IC at the time.
My mortal enemy.
Yeah, he threw me up against the wall, almost threw a chair at me when I was a 14-year-old girl crying, saying I wanted to go home to my parents.
By the way, if anyone thinks I'm a big guy, Ben Monahan is probably 6'5", 300 pounds. He makes me look small. And Sarah's so tiny. I mean, you're probably not as tiny as you were back then, but I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
tell.
she kind of is. She's kind of like this yoga queen, like angel, but still like this petite little beautiful cutie.
Sarah,
Pixie.
I've said no matter how much time goes by, if I see Ben Monahan on the street, he's getting punched right in the face. This guy was so horrible. This guy was so horrible.
I've heard that too.
But Sara, when you say you spent 6 months on the FLO EPF, do you mean after you were in Tech Callin? Because you can't just go right to the FLO EPF, right?
No. Yes, you can. You can. When you have a clean enough record to go to FLOPF, you can. And I did.
Oh.
And then I made them so it would, I was hoping they'd kick me out. So I disclosed things that they would have hoping, oh, they'll kick me out if I tell them this stuff. And then instead of kicking me out, they just demoted me to the CLO EPF or the fact-based EPF. So yeah. So then I was on that, and I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. So then I did the Tech Callin, and I was ready to kill myself in a very short amount of time. And then they moved me to being a CS assistant. So I was still under you, technically.
So was it Rod Keller or Sonny Pereira at that time?
Oh, it was Sonny. It was Sonny. Well, there was the older guy, Rod. They were both there.
Oh, there was Bruce Gaines, Rod Keller, and Sonny Pereira.
Bruce Gaines and Sonny Pereira are the ones that I remember.
Yeah, Bruce is the one who was always angry at everyone.
Yeah, it was kind of just grumpy. I think if I got the right guy, he never really said anything to me. He kind of just always, was kind of.
Aaron just said that. He never really spoke.
No, I said, and then he had a stroke.
And then he had a stroke.
Dang,
I didn't laugh. I don't mean to laugh at anybody's harm, but yeah.
Were you still there, Sara, when Sonny was removed from her post, or did you leave before that?
She might have been in the process. I know something was going on with her while I was there.
Okay. Now I'm realizing why I remember you being in the HGC. It's because you were the CS assistant. Did you have to work the CS 53 hours, the night hours?
Yeah, I didn't work the whole thing, but I stayed up later.
It's not. What was they called? The fantastic new HGC line. There was the night hours. I forget what the name of it was. Anyway, forget that. I'm just fucking rambling over here. Okay, so then. So you got out of that pure hellhole of Tech Callin. Then you were the CS assistant. How did you end up out of the Sea Org from there?
Well, honestly, they were really smart when they put me as a CS assistant because I was able to kind of like do my own hours, do my own thing. I made up my own stats. Like they really gave me enough freedom to try to make me happy. Like here you. That's what I don't know. That's what it felt like because I just kind of like ran myself. The CSs, they didn't really talk to anybody. So I just got them the folders they needed. And I ran around a lot. And I think I got to this point where I realized I wasn't going to have a life. Like I realized two things. I realized one, I was never going to move up in the Sea Org because I had disclosed information. And also I was a revert, and so I knew I was never going to move up. So it was like there was something in me that was just like, I'm just going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And then there was another part of me that was just like, oh, I'm going to miss out on like all the things that teenagers do and kids do. And of course, like then you get out and you're like, your system is, dealing with trauma. So you don't actually end up having all that fun and having all those like moments in a positive way. But yeah, so I finally just got to a point where I was like, I have to leave. Like I can't stay. And that was basically where I got to.
So if you weren't at the Int Ranch, Lara, how did you and Sara meet and become friends?
Really quick 1 minute answer.
Is this like a filthy story or something?
Aaron, that you cannot mix, you know, SPTV with your perverted little mind.
I don't know. Lara, it's the first time I've asked you
Sara,
a question and you were just like silent for a little bit.
Because I literally went down a whole like because me and Sara are extremely close. So I just was like, oh, I really was like, whoa, I haven't been asked that question in a long time. And I talk to Sara quite frequently.
Still waiting for the answer.
Okay. When you're done laughing, because Aaron is so funny. Watch out, guys. He has a side job. He's a comedian on the side. That's where he gets his real income from. No, so this is kind of cuckoo crazy, but here's something that nobody's really talked about. When I left the Sea Org, and just as I guess, I don't know, Sara, would you say just as like a young sort of cadet, like younger kid that was kind of raised and then had parents in it, don't you think we kind of all sort of to mingle once we kind of like when you leave the Sea Org, you don't know anything. You're kind of just like, oh, I guess I'll latch on to like the closest person that kind of knows or has been through similar things that I went to or that we went through. So I had already been doing that as I was slowly fucking couch surfing as I was, however, with random friends that I, you know, like I've mentioned in some previous episodes of other cadets' couches and stuff that we were sleeping on for 6 months or whatever, and just kind of like doing whatever we could, and then the friend being really annoyed. We're taking, anyways. So Sara, one of the first places as a human being I ever felt like, oh my God, I have my apartment. I have which I felt was my apartment. So I'll get to that in a second. But I felt I had my apartment. I felt I had my own bathroom, my own space. I was paying the rent. Okay, so here it is. So when I was doing all this couch surfing, and one of the couch I ended up surfing on was Catherine Spallino's brother, who I had become friends with in mutual contact with, like all of the ranch kids mixing from Int Ranch and Pack Ranch and Clearwater and whatever. We all just became friends. And so it's so funny when Aaron always says, like, if you were a Scientologist, everybody knows everybody, because you kind of do. So yeah, like Sara and Aaron know each other in a whole different way than I know. And I've heard of Mark Fisher so many times, and this is literally, and I've watched his videos to unbrainwash myself before when they had first started stuff. Like, and Janice, I've never met, but for some reason I have so much motherly respect for her in a way of being like, no, this is not. And for her kind of always having that when she was in the Sea Org, and then not putting up with David's shit and just being like, I'm going to move on and fuck this shit, and I'm going to say how it is. I don't know. And I've never met you guys, so it's so cool. I'm like, oh, Mark Fisher? Aaron surprised me. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too.
Yeah. So back to Aaron, where was I?
I was.
How did me and Sara meet?
Yeah.
So the mingling cadet orgs, right? All of us, when you do eventually fucking leave the Sea Org, whenever you do, which took a lot of us a lot of hell to finally get out, you kind of meet the other people, right? And so you're hanging out, and so some people I'm like, yeah, I could do without you, you're kind of annoying, or you're too Scientology or whatever. But I would lean to the people I kind of like. Jason Spallino is so artful. His mind has always been funny, so artful, so like, how can I just love this and not make it so like, he was like, oh, and even anyways. And so this one person, Jason Spallino, he goes by Prince Beast name or whatever, is very good friends with me and Sara.
What's that
Sara,
noise,
I think
guys?
that's making it worse, baby.
Yeah,
Let it go. Yeah, because now it's doing alien voices when you hold it. Let the plane go. I'm louder. I'm louder than the aliens.
I know that.
Like,
I know that.
So, but when you do this, it's like, wow. It does like
And I was like trying to like, there's a plane overhead.
So I met Sara very amazingly finally when I felt like after all the couch surfing and Jason like crashing on everybody's couches and trying to do whatever I could without ruining my relationship with my friends. One of those couches was Jason, and we were creating music. I was in a band called Little Red Radio with him, and I was just basically living in his loft with him, just kind of taking care of it and cleaning, and he loved it, and we just got along so well. Like
so you guys did not know each other until both of you had left the Sea Org.
Yep, 100%. And then we moved. So I get where Jason lived. He was part of this. Basically, the person who ran this place called the Art Share, downtown Los Angeles. It's like this artist loft area. Was a former member of the Sea Org and Scientology. This is going to blow your mind, Aaron. I was going to not say it, but now I'm going to say it. His name was Tiber McCormick. And Tiber McCormick was now the manager. He took over. And before that, there was another Scientologist and Joe Wood. Anyways, between Joe Wood, Tiber McCormick, a person named Tara Harris, and Jason Spallino. Jason Spallino was kind of, I think, living or renting with Tara Harris at the time. And so I was always in their loft and always making music. And Tara's like, yeah, thanks, get out of here. Whatever. No, I'm making music, bitch. Don't mess with us. So anyway,
that little artist
Joe
loft,
Wood,
that little artist loft place. So that's the place.
It's called the Art Share, downtown Los Angeles.
You and I ran into some people you used to live with.
Yep,
in there,
100%.
Right?
Yep.
I can now just imagine that place just full of basically former cadets.
Sinos. So okay, not even cadets. Actually, yes, they're literally.
Well, no, Ethan Sachs was there for a while. I know a lot of people know him.
Okay, but Sarah, they're not, that's what I was going to say. They're not cadets, but they're 100% Scientologists.
Former SO kids or Scientology
No.
kids.
Or just kids of Scientology or young kids that met them because they were at CC and they're actors now. And, I'm living at the Art Share. A lot of that. And then the Sea Org members, remember the recruiting? Those young, good-looking recruiters would come to the Art Share and go to every loft. Even if you were a Scientologist or not, they would still get to know you. And even if you were sort of like, oh, yeah, I know a little. Oh, Jason. Oh, Lara, Megan. Oh, my God, they're amazing. They would never know that that they're talking to Sea Org recruiters that are trying to like somehow get us back into Scientology. Crazy. Right. Anyway, so Sara would come. She knew Jason and she knew a bunch of these cadets from the pack and the whatever base. And then me and her just, having a little hangy.
It was Tiber's ex-wife, Juliana, who I originally knew as Juliana Shape. But then who was the TechSec Foundation? I was the TechSec Day. So we shared an office together. We had desks that faced each other. It was I was trying to remember her name in one of our earlier conversations. But when I joined the Sea Org, she had just recently gotten divorced from Tiber and Tiber left. So she was like destroyed because, she married up. Let's just say that. Juliana married up when she married Tiber. So, anyway, but you guys know who I'm talking about? Juliana Shape, Juliana McCormick. Do you guys?
I've never met her. I've heard her a bunch because me and Tiber for many, many years were extremely very close and and still actually are as friends. But I also know he's trying to deal with his life and shit going on.
Yeah. And Juliana is one of the people who did a hate video about me on the website. So she'll always have a special place.
Interesting. I would love to show Tiber that video and see what he thinks about that.
Yeah, please do. Okay, I have to tell you my Scott Schmidecki story just because it's so absurd that people need to understand this is the culture of the Sea Org and how absurd it is. First of all, Scott Schmidecki was this poor little kid who was literally pre-puberty. This kid was going through puberty in the Sea Org. So like this little strange, awkward guy in a ridiculous situation. And you remember what was the name of the director of training for Astro Foundation? Was it Kelly? It doesn't matter. She and her
foundation names aren't my
posse of foundation.
Wait, was Kelly a tall?
It wasn't. It wasn't Kelly. It wasn't Kelly.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay, so anyway, someone was responsible for cleaning the bathrooms, was their cleaning station, and emptying the trash can. And someone saw that there was a, I don't know, one of these lingerie magazines, like from Macy's or something, in the bathroom of the men's, in the trash can of the men's room. And they just decided it was their job to see if anybody had desecrated this magazine. Okay. So they took the magazine out of the trash. And we only know all this, you'll find out in a minute, took the magazine out of the trash to go through it page by page and see if the end of these pages stuck together in an unnatural way. And once they determined that somebody had desecrated this thing, they decided to make a giant fucking deal about it and take all the for some reason all the foundation supervisors, and they basically made Scott admit that it was him. This poor kid, he must have been 12 or 13 or 14 maybe, I don't even remember. Just imagine thinking that was a good use of your time. All you had to do was take the fucking trash out, you dumbass. It wasn't you weren't supposed to investigate the trash. You were supposed to look for crimes, because this is considered a big deal in the Sea Org. This poor little kid was humiliated over this. And people wonder, like, this is the Sea Organization. This is what these people have all the time in the world and nothing better to do than to look for bad guys everywhere. Poor Scott Schmidecki. So I feel so bad for that kid. No matter, I mean, I'm sure he's 30 years old or 30 plus years old now, right? I mean, this was a long time ago. You ever heard it? Go ahead.
Can we just point out that the foundation staff? So we were day. The foundation staff was mostly also the teenagers and kids. Like, it was like a lot of young people. So I feel like even more so, it's like one thing, I don't know. It's one thing to be with older people and to kind of have them being like, oh, okay, you did something. And it's like a whole other thing when all your peers are with you, all of them probably masturbating in the bathroom themselves, like being shamed in front of everybody, and just what that does. Anyway, it's just like,
I know. And poor Huckleberry Taylor, that guy.
Yeah.
I loved Huckleberry. He was such a good kid for someone who was made to feel like he was so bad. They were always driving Huck into the ground, but he was so good. Nothing he was doing was something a kid wouldn't do, Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So Huckleberry, I think, is kind of out of Scientology now. Actually, I don't know that to be true. He's definitely out of the Sea Org. I actually don't. I'm assuming he's under the radar. I mean, I'm not in touch with him. I just, it's hard to imagine a guy like that getting a taste of freedom and not going, this is what freedom's like. I'll take more of this.
Well, I remember him, and I think it was Max Disher. And I don't mean to point you guys out in any bad way, just so apologize. But I remember they would go and sneak out, and they got caught because they would sneak out and go drinking, which again, like, anyone their age would probably do anyway. But they got in like big trips for that.
Sarah, were you saying sorry to like Max Disher and them for shouting them out?
Yeah.
Trust me, Max Disher would take a lot of pride in that. He'd be like, yeah, we were sneaking out. And Max Disher is hilarious, and he would be like, oh yeah, and he's probably laughing if he ever watches this. We're like, yeah, Meg's nailed it.
They brought Huck Taylor up in front of a base briefing, maybe 1,000 goddamn people in front of this meeting. And the Vicky Shantz, one of the most horrible Sea Org members I've ever known, the COCLOSUS, she brought him up in front of base briefing just to announce to everybody that he had created a flap for the base because he had run up a debt at the local Blockbuster. He'd created a flap at the local Blockbuster by having overdue fees, and they sent a letter. But of course, Huckleberry's address is the base. So, of course, if they send a letter, some threatening collections letter, it's going to go to the base. And, of course, they open up all the mail. So they're going to send this letter, which looks like a legal threat, but it's just a collections notice, right? They probably sent it to OSA, and then OSA bumped it up to Vicky, and then humiliated this young teenager in front of 1,000 people. And I don't even mean to bring it up like, oh, he was shamed. Just imagine the humiliation of being brought up in front of 1,000 of your peers and being singled out as a total fuck up. I mean, that creates damage. That creates long-term damage. But he was such a good supervisor. He was such a hard worker. He took so much shit from Jim Plett and Bill Screevers. Those guys were horrible to him. They were horrible to him. But anyway, he's a real trooper, and I hope he does get fully out of Scientology. I'd love to have him on this channel sometime if he ever does leave. Huckleberry, I'm looking at you, man. Come on with me. Oh, because Louis, Sarah, you ever been in touch with Louis Repetto?
No, I don't think so.
Do you remember Louis from our show?
No.
Oh, okay. He's around. He comes in the chat. I thought you would have remembered him. I just remember he was Huckleberry's age. They were friends.
What was his post though?
First, he was an ethics officer, but then he was a supervisor.
Oh yes, I do remember him. I remember him as in ethics specifically. Oh no, maybe both.
Yeah, he's fully out. You know, declared all that stuff. You know, he joins in the chat pretty frequently, so maybe he'll join this evening. Hey guys, for the Q&A portion of tonight's video, if you have a non-super chat question for the Q&A, please just put all caps question in the beginning of your question, and I'll keep an eye out and I'll star them. Let's see, guys, what should we chit chat about? Anything else we should chit chat about before? Oh, Mark, how did you meet Greg Wilhere?
When I was in high school and in Scientology in Washington, D.C., Greg Wilhere and his wife at the time, Sandy Wilhere, she was pregnant with Darius, their son Darius Wilhere. So they were sent from the Apollo, the ship, to Washington, D.C. while she was having her baby. And so Greg Wilhere was the keeper of tech at the D.C. org. And at the same time, a guy named Bill Franks had been sent to be the CO of the D.C. org. That's my dog. I'm sorry. And so anyway, I met Greg there, and he blew me away. I mean, I'd never seen anybody so, you know, with it. You know what I mean? And he was a great guy, and he just encouraged me. He was what I thought a Sea Org member should be. And so when they talked to me about the ship and being in Clearwater, they just announced the base in Clearwater. I decided to join the Sea organization at that point. And the funny thing is that Greg and I worked together many times, including the last, 8 years I was in Scientology in the Sea Org, when he was at Author Services and I was working for Miscavige. Basically, Greg's position was over the audio-visual products. So we coordinated, like on the Road to Freedom album. Greg did the design and oversaw the designing of all the packaging. And then myself, and as well as David Miscavige, we were involved in the production of the album at the Gold Base. And that's just one example. But then he became the Inspector General in RTC. And then I also worked with him there as well. And I'll never forget when I was getting ready to leave, I had already blown twice and came back because my wife wouldn't leave with me and I didn't want to leave without her. But anyway, I'll never forget. This is Greg Wilhere. Okay. Marty Rathbun actually put me up against a wall in the ethics room at the Gold Base, because basically I was, spouting off like, I'm going to leave, and they go, well, you going to sue Scientology? I said, no, I'm going after David Miscavige. Okay. So Marty was sent down to confront me on this and get in my face and basically yell at me like, if you ever do anything against Scientology, you're going to have to deal with me and I will ruin your life. And he wasn't expecting my answer, which was I stepped 6 inches closer to him and I said, go ahead, MFer. I don't care. What do you expect? I'm like, my back's against the wall, right? And Marty was not expecting that. He backed off. So anyway, so when I walked out of the room, Greg Wilhere was standing out in the hallway, and we were friends, and he said, hey, come on, Mark, it's going to get better. Just stick it out. It's going to get better. And I looked him right in the eye and I said, no, it's not going to get better, because I knew what was going to happen with Miscavige because I'd seen it up close and personal. And that was the last conversation I ever had with Greg.
Wow. Do you think Greg will ever leave?
No, he's so sucked in terms of, being around Miscavige so much. Miscavige would never let him leave. Similar to Shelly, similar to other people. Marty did a lot of damage when he was out, and Wilhere could do just as much, if not more. So I don't think he would ever leave.
Yeah. It's crazy. Someone could argue, and definitely people who aren't familiar with the culture of being in a cult would argue, that someone like Greg Wilhere has seen firsthand that it is possible to leave, basically go to war with Scientology, and settle for millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you'd think that somewhere in Greg's mind, he would go, oh shit, if I wanted to get out of here, that's my security, blanket. I can leave. I can get tens of millions of dollars. We can skip the going to war. I can leave. I can get a settlement, a big enough settlement to keep my mouth shut, a la Debbie Cook. And that's not even throwing shade. It's just eventually they offer you enough money to please be quiet and go away. And yet he stays anyway. And that's what people, if people go, my God, how could he do that? To know why people stay anyway, you have to know what it means to be in a cult. It's
plus his son. I mean, this is after I left. Darius was kicked out, or like I heard he was left in Mexico. You know what I mean? And basically to fend for himself. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the story that I heard. And he was out of the Sea organization. This was his only son. You know, I mean, it's just crazy to me how parents in the Sea Org treat their kids. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Lara. Go ahead.
No, I didn't want to interrupt. I wanted to tell Aaron and all y'all, Greg Wilhere and his son were sent to the Int Ranch as like in 1992 or something, like around this time. I was a young little baby. I was like 5 or 6, like as a kid, not a baby, because that was in the ATA. But I was a young baby, and I remember Greg Wilhere, like his like tall kind of like high, you know, like very, like you said, like he was fucking 100%
A to B, like Scientology,
yeah. And then his son was trying to, am I wrong? But do you feel like his son was trying to be sort of like him and kind of have this, like, you know, or no? And then at a certain point, he probably just left.
You know, when I was still there, Darius was just newly going into this, you know, into the.
How old do you think Darius was?
Well, I left in 1990, and Darius was born in 76, so he was only like 14 years old at that time. So he was just starting to get into the Sea Org.
That makes sense. Yeah. So Greg was like the executive who came to the Int Ranch, and he kind of at one point did have his son or something with him as an example of like, to kind of be like, this is my son. And so Greg Wilhere, I knew for a very long time, was an important executive before, as my child brain registered who the executives were. I remember Greg Wilhere's name at the very beginning years of the Int Ranch. Yeah. When I was like 5 or 6.
I remember hearing that Darius had been involved in some sort of very serious car accident, either in Mexico or then was sent to Mexico. And there was a lot of painkillers and addiction involved. And I hope I don't have parts of this story. I'm just, you know, just taking remnants of, because I never knew Darius. But then he popped up, he went viral for something about 5, 6, 7 years ago. There was some story that involved him having cancer and building this big giant thing with his daughter, just in case it was the end for him. I could be getting all this wrong, but Darius has lived a very difficult life from what I understand. Did you actually spend a lot of time with him up at the ranch, Lara?
No. So I was going to say, like, he definitely, by the time my little 6-year-old brain seeing this and like seeing basically, you know, I in previous episodes on the Lara FM channel, I talk about when I first went to the Int Ranch, it wasn't so strict. It wasn't like, wear this uniform. And it wasn't like that. When I first got there, it was, oh, there's other kids. There's this. Oh, it's kind of not this beautiful magical animal place. Like I was like, oh, there's a lot. And then I was like, oh, we have to fix it up. Oh, okay. And he, like, I would say about 2 years into being the, and this was so hard because this came up in therapy when I was thinking about timelines, because I was mixing a lot of things to make things okay. And I remembered that Greg Wilhere and his son came around 1993 to the Int Ranch. I don't know, maybe 92 or 93, around that time. Maybe Mark can help me with if he was there at the Gold Base. They were definitely at the Gold Base. You're muted, Mark. Your mic's muted.
No, I left in 1990, September. So they were planning on bringing the kids there at that time, but it hadn't happened yet. As a matter of fact.
So that's what was happening. 1990 is when the beginning of children started going to the Int Ranch.
And I'm actually I was shocked when I heard that, because that property was called Happy Valley when I lived there. I mean, it was a dump, and it was where they kept people under guard. I remember Arthur Hubbard, LRH's son, was in the rehabilitation project force out there under guard. And like, he blew a couple of times, and he tried to go through the Indian reservation to get out of town. And they basically manhandled him into a van and brought him back to Happy Valley. And so when I heard that the kids ranch was there eventually, they must have done some major renovations, because that place was
No, Mark. The kids did that's where I'm getting to. The kids did the renovation. There was the adults were just showing, this is how you do it. I'm the adult showing you how to be the adult because you're not a child. Yeah. Remember, right? So we're learning. So that's where we were converting from 1992. I feel like once they got the parents settled at int base, I think the kids from those parents were then like, you're not going to be kids anymore. We need to start getting you in shape. Okay, you're here at this ranch. Well, we're going to make this into a beautiful ranch because the PR of this place sucks. Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard's own son was assigned to the RPF at int.
Oh, absolutely.
So the int base,
absolutely he was. Yeah.
The int ranch. Sorry, Mark.
Happy Valley. This was in the mid 80s when I was working for Miscavige. He wanted to route out. He blew the Sea Organization. They rounded him up. They brought him out to Happy Valley. He was kept under guard. Jackson would remember this, okay? Yep. And basically, all he wanted to do was leave. He wanted out, okay? And he tried to escape a couple of times, and there was there's like a creek bed or something, and he tried to go up it, and there was all these thorns and all sorts of stuff. And they manhandled him and brought him back. And what I also remember about that time, too, is that Mary Sue knew that Arthur was in the RPF up there, and so she would write to him almost daily, and Miscavige and Shelly had us review the letters going to Arthur and the letters coming back from Arthur, because they didn't want Mary Sue saying anything that was going to set Arthur off. And it was disgusting. He was basically a prisoner, and then he was eventually let go.
Wow. Mary Sue Hubbard couldn't write a letter to her own son without it being intercepted and read first to make sure.
No, Jason Bennick, who worked for me, was the one who was filtering the communications back and forth. Yeah.
Wow.
So, Mark, the same method with Arthur Hubbard is then used for all the cadets at that.
Oh, I'll bet.
So all mail is open by security. There's no private. I can't ever write a private letter to my mom. In fact, when I did, my week was troubling, but I was in my kid head trying to be like, it was really hard. I backflashed with Renee Berther, and then Kasabi Tabioyan and me got in a fight almost. And they were like, sat me down. It was like a 4-page letter to my mom where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start talking to my mom like I really should. I don't care if they say they were like, this is the time to write your 2D, like your family, which they never use 2D unless you're going out 2D, which means you're like having sex or something. Like 2D is always related to sex or rape or any sexual crime. So when they did a 2D, like they blamed the child for causing out 2D to my executive parent because all the dynamics connect. So even the letter that I finally had the guts to really talk to my mom and tell her about was then cut open. And then I realized for the rest of my life that everything I send out or in is going to be, they opened it, told me you can't be sent. They sat me down and said, you can't be writing all this. Write the letter you want to write. Tell her how you're feeling, but tell her that you're working through it. Don't like put this on her like she's worried about you now. And this is literally what they told me to do. I was like, okay, yeah, I understand. That's bad PR.
Incredible.
The most famous escape when I was there, or attempted escape out of Happy Valley, which is the kids' ranch as you know it, was by a guy named Bill Dendu, who was a marketing executive at the time. And he was married to a lady named Marion Dendu, or Marion Powell. And
that sounds familiar. Powell.
Yeah, well, they had like a convertible, not Aston Martin, but like an Alfa Romeo or whatever. And he had the top down, and he was out there, and he somehow got the keys, and he drove through the gate at Happy Valley. He went right through the gate to get out. The gate went up over his windshield and hit him in the head. And he just kept driving, and he had a major cut in his head. And he went into Hemet, into the town, and that's how they recovered him, because he was pretty messed up. He got cut up pretty bad.
The gate, do you mean at Gold Base or the Int Ranch?
No, at Happy Valley, at the
Happy
ranch.
Valley.
Yeah.
So Happy Valley is the Int Ranch. So I just have two questions. When I did, as a young, I guess 4 years old, Aaron, I was telling you when I was going in the van driving, finally we got approved as kids to go to the Int Ranch. I remember driving, and the one thing I kind of woke up, I guess I probably as a kid fell asleep in I felt like, whoa, this is a long ride. I've never been in a van longer than this. Like I've only been in a van for 2 minutes. Get out to the next building, fall asleep, wake up. It was never like a long, as a kid, I remember that being like, oh, this is a long ride. And for years, I always thought the ranch was so far away from LA.
Yeah,
That's crazy. My whole lifetime as a kid, I thought it was so far away. Yeah, I thought, oh, it's so far away. But anyways, I remember coming up to the ranch, waking up out of the van ride and seeing it looked brand new, like shiny, nice Casio Canyon School gate at the front entrance. So this must have happened before, and they probably had to fix the gate, and then they made it look brand new for the kids coming in.
It didn't look. I saw photos later, and then they made it like they had like farmland. I mean, maybe like Provender area and all.
Oh, no. We'll go into that later. But
that's all later.
No, we won't.
No, this was a dump.
I mean, on Lara's channel, Aaron.
No, but I'm just saying this was a dump. And that's where the reason.
That's what I mean. This is what it's good to hear. This is like, I was told, even as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, I kind of remember being like, me and my sister got approved to go to this ranch. And then when we got there from this long van ride and seeing this magical golden new Casio Canyon, which we revised later, made it nicer, I thought, and then as we're pulling in, I'm like, oh, this is kind of shitty. And then I'm seeing the other cadets like Ariella kind of coming out in their civvies. So back to Greg Wilhere. So all that, we were kind of like groomed to be like, look, it's not so bad. Oh, we're going to fix this up. We're going to have animals and goats and everything. It's going to be beautiful. And so it kind of encouraged the kids to want to get in uniforms and be real and do it. Yeah. It's pretty manipulative.
Last thing I'll say, and because we can move on, we always thought it was funny that it was called Happy Valley, because Happy Valley kind of is like mental institution. Oh, he's off at Happy Valley getting some relaxation. We always thought that was a funny name because the RPF was always out there.
So Mark, I think there's also a time when the RPF was before the kids and the cadets started getting me like, oh, we're going to use this actually for the kids of the executives here at the Gold. I think there was an RPF base there. Oh. And then 7 to 8 years later, they then started making another RPF separate base for the in RPF. Yeah. And that was like 7-8 years later. So as we're kind of getting ready to go get shipped off to Clearwater and meet all these people, we also know that, oh, Mark Yeager and Edie Ent were just digging trenches at the Ent Ranch.
Yeah. Praise Xenu. I have one more question for Sara, and then we'll jump onto the Q&A portion of the video. Sara, do you remember, so you were in the SO for 2 years. When you left, did they give you a big giant freeloader's debt that your parents had to pay? Or anything
I had to pay it. I paid it. My parents didn't pay it.
Do you remember how much it was?
Well, here's the thing. Because I knew I kind of wanted to leave the whole time after that first trying to leave at FLO, I stalled on my studies hardcore. Because I knew there would be a freeloader's debt when I got out. It was weird. There was like a part of me that knew a lot of things that also didn't know, So I had, honestly, it wasn't as big as a lot of people's. It was, I think it might have been under $2,000. So yeah.
But just, and again, relative to other freeloader debts, it sounds like nothing. But the fact that you, how old were you there when you started working? 14?
14, yeah.
So, from 14 years old to 15 years old to 16 years old, you're working 100 hours a week for these guys for, if you're lucky, $50 a week. And then when you're done with that, you owe them money. Like, it didn't matter that you were a minor.
Mine was 16,000.
Well, okay. So, but can I add to that? So, the gala, the CC gala that they do, right? When they raise all this money, I was 14 years old when I built the CC gala stage. I put all that shit together with the FLO EPF. And yeah, like you're saying, it's like, and here I am paying them back money when it's like, I built the apartments that people were living in at the AB building. Like I installed, and for people who had the people with the money and the higher up people who got like the nice treatment, like I, as a 14-year-old girl, I was building their apartments, redoing their bathrooms and their kitchens. And like, yeah. So what you say, it's like, that 100%. Is, it's bullshit. It doesn't make any sense except for child labor. That's what makes sense there.
All right, let's tackle some of these questions. Okay, Jen Nelson wants Lara FM to know you are rocking that style, Lara.
What style is that?
What style do you think it is?
I mean, I've got many, honey. I'm not in a box. You know, I might look in a box right here, but I'm not in a box, baby. I go everywhere. I do everything.
All right.
Love it. Thank you.
The Free Xenu Project. Hello, Ron, Lara, Mark, and Sarah. So good to see you. How are all of you today? Thank you for exposing the cult. Can I get a certificate of declared SP? This is something one of the merch stores has got to start offering, whether it's on the SP shop or on Mark and Claire. Someone's got a custom made, or not even custom made, just it's got to be boilerplate, right? Because you can't custom make every one. Just an SP declare. Someone's got to do it. I'm too lazy. I'm not going to do it.
I don't have the SP thing, but you're going to be shocked. I'll tell this on my story. Wow, Lara FM, bring it up. I have a freaking, I got it through a neighbor being like, hey, did you say you were in Scientology? I just got this from this auction. And it's a metal steel plate. It's literally the printing thing that prints the Hubbard qualified Scientologist certs that I could literally, I can authorize anybody to be a Hubbard qualified Scientologist. I can print you a cert. I have the actual metal print plate, and it blew my mind. I was like, do I want this? I just wanted it for L. Ron Hubbard's signature so I could use it in a music video to wear all white with L. Ron Hubbard's signature all over my dress of anything I wanted to do. It just had to be brewed by L. Ron Hubbard. And then I was like, ooh, I need to keep this because this is going to be valuable someday.
That is so funny.
I'll bring it in. I think it's right there, but I don't need to interrupt this.
Oh my God. By the way, just for anyone who has joined the chat relatively recently, you can subscribe to Lara FM on YouTube at Lara FM or at Lara Anderson Official. And you can subscribe to Mark on YouTube at Our Scientology Stories, Peeling the Onion. Sarah, you don't have a YouTube channel, do you?
Yes, she does.
I do, but
she just hasn't done anything
yet. I'm just setting
yet.
it up. I'm just getting into it.
Doesn't matter.
So.
That doesn't matter.
But can we say what Sarah does and stuff? It's literally, she heals me through therapy. Like, I'm not kidding. She's one of my therapists. She's one of my healers. I'm not kidding. Can we please just let everybody know what she does and why?
Go for it.
Okay. You go, Sarah. Or, yeah, you go.
So this could be a lot longer of a story, but I do healing work because I've done a lot of my own work of literally getting back my sovereignty, reprogramming my system so that way I'm in my system. So I love to do that with people. I do healing work. I do divination. Am I still there? Okay, good. My screen's getting weird. I also am a yoga and Pilates instructor as well and love to heal through.
Nice. Of course, the body thetans are getting into the system and fucking everything up. As soon as she gets to her part, she is now frozen. She is officially frozen.
So I'll just say
Xenu has fully taken over. Hold on, but real quick before you do, what is the name of your channel? Even if there's nothing on it right now, does it have a name? Lara, go ahead, jump in.
No, let her catch up. She'll say it.
Or you could say it.
All right.
Sarah, what's your YouTube channel?
I literally talk about my work, and here it goes, right?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. You're doing good.
Ritual. Nature.ritual.
That's the website. And what is your YouTube channel handle?
I can put it in the chat. I will.
Yes, you can, you little.
But tell me, I'm going to type it out, though. Try to tell me.
But she'll try to put it in the chat, and then somebody will catch it.
Well, that's the handle on YouTube and my Instagram.
For the love of Xenu, somebody just tell me the name of the channel.
Okay.
Sarah,
I think I did it.
Subscribe to Sarah on YouTube at
Nature at Nature Ritual. Nature.ritual. Anybody get that?
What is the title of the YouTube
channel?
channel?
It's all right, guys. I'll be back.
Lara, what is the name of the YouTube channel?
Nature.ritual.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that
I was like, Aaron, she's literally said it like 3 times. And it's her YouTube channel too. Sarah, you're back now and you're good. And now you're live. And we did slowly catch all your slow. I don't know. Yeah, the BTs and the Thetans were definitely interrupting us. Aaron was correct.
So, but hold on. The title is nature.ritual or the handle is at nature.ritual? because they're two different
Handle.
things. But what's the
Handle.
title? But what's the title?
Honestly, I'm so new to this. I don't even.
Okay, what can they type in to find you? Sara Seltzer?
Sarah Seltzer.
Yep, her name will pop up on the YouTube if you put that in. He's just trying to put your thing in, so even when people after watch this, they can pull it up and find it.
And
Even
I
though
love
you
it,
don't
and
know.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I don't know these
All right.
things.
Cool. I'll while we're
This is
answering your question, I'm going to try to actually find it. All right, here we go. Freezing your project. Is that the one that we just did? Yep, that's the one that we just did. And
Yeah.
Jefferson Hawkins. Everyone
Hey,
loves Jefferson Hawkins.
Jefferson. Hey, Jeff.
Hi,
Love
Jeff.
you all. Everybody
Jeff
loves
was
you,
with
Jeff.
my mom. They did a Dianetics campaign, Sara, Jeff Hawkins. Yeah, and he's been updating me on a few things. Pretty cry.
Super cool. All right. Lori plays. I hope Sara has a comfortable seat because bless her heart, she looks like she's standing against the wall. Get that girl a chair.
But a yoga mat.
She's sitting on a yoga mat. I'm literally.
Sara's literally amazing.
You guys want to see what I'm sitting on?
No thanks. We don't need to see a penis in the
Oh, you're
screen.
disgusting. You are filthy. You are
Wait,
gross.
let's be.
I mean to you, but not to me. I wouldn't
All
mind
right.
to be
Okay,
sitting.
not
on all
talking about penises for a second, but
Oh
I
my
do
God.
remember you. I do remember you being like very buff back in the day, like like which was kind of a weird thing in the Sea Org, like to have somebody who's actually fit walking around the halls. Anyway,
Yeah, it was kind of other fish to fry. It was out of valence.
Yeah.
I know.
That's what
Some
it felt
Sea Org
like.
me-
I was like, if I'm attracted to you, you are out of balance. Like, why are you working so hard on your figure?
Some Sea Org members had gym memberships. Some didn't. I don't know what to say. Okay.
I didn't even know what a gym membership was other than the fucking like gym in the Fort Harrison Hotel or like that's so bad.
Hey, can I interject here for a second?
Of
Hell
course.
Let me interject for a second. If you want to have a laughing good time and rip your guts out laughing all night long, you play Cards Against Humanity with Aaron and Mark Headley. We did that on a cruise, and I'd never played before, and I've never laughed so hard in my life. The mind of that Aaron is something else.
I think the only thing missing, Mark, is me, because with me there, it would have been a riot.
I travel.
Aaron
I
vouch
travel.
for it. A vouch for the Lara hangout.
Lara's funny. I travel with that card game because it's a great way to break the ice.
I
and,
have a
good
brand
time.
new box, literally right here. I can show it to you if anybody wants it. I don't want to open it up, and I just want to give it to somebody. It's like a sealed box, Cards every minute. I'm like, I ain't gonna play no drunk games like that.
We had so much fun doing that.
I know. I would have absolutely had fun doing that with all y'all. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fox, you're not invited.
All right, cool. I found Sarah's YouTube channel.
See, I was thinking I'm giving time because I knew Aaron was doing his like side.
Hey, Lara.
He's good at that.
Lara, you have a husky. I have a husky too. I have a female husky.
She's
and
a
she
female
looks like
too.
your dog.
Is she a little smaller?
Brown and white. She's about 47 pounds. Her
She
name's Lucia. She's 3 years old.
so yeah, I've been feeding Foxy better food than I feed I eat the same food as her now.
Yeah.
But I was realizing how much salt and stuff I feed myself based on the health that I give my dog.
Yeah.
Did you just say that you eat dog food now?
Aaron, again, your jokes sometimes are inappropriate because I did eat dog food at the ranch. And it was very satisfying.
Anyway, I saw your dog, and I have one just like it.
Where do you live, Mark? Are you allowed
in
to
Las
tell me?
Vegas.
Oh, I'm only a 3-hour drive from you.
Where are you? Are you in LA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say, look at Aaron's done. He's still. Oh, are you? Oh, nope. He's still going. Can I just say that? I kind of that's why I'm saying if me and Aaron and Mark and everybody were on something, we would be laughing until the moon came out, including Sara Seltzer. Look at Sara just saw that. She was like, oh, I see that party right there.
Oh my God.
But anyways, yeah.
All right.
I would just say, wait, I was going to say,
That's enough of my
I do.
interjections. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Wait, and mine too. But it's just so exciting to be an SP on SPTV. Right, Sarah? Right, Sarah?
100%.
But I do
100%.
say, I will just put in there that between 8 and 10 minutes away or less, I'm right by Big Blue building. So I definitely see like the MLO building where they hide all the current, for any of y'all watching, where they put the current old people in the MLO building. I can see, and I'm being very discreet and weird. And except for yesterday, I did kind of see a PI pretending like full on black headphones, 2 recording devices on the side of him with a white cap with like pure black sunk like spy glasses that I couldn't even see his eyes or anything. And right when I said Foxy, it was something like he was like, "Yep, that's definitely her." It was like so weird. Anyways,
Wow.
Called Serge Delmar immediately. Went blah, blah, blah. But I live right by the building, so I'm watching with the MLO building, with the build, with their ASHO, whatever the hell you want to call it, AO ASHO, whatever, RPF, whatever the Big Blue is covering up, saying, "Oh, we're just a little organization." I see everything there. I do want to update everybody. If you know a person who's the mother of Brian, Jared, and Shimmerhorn, the mother of them. I forget her name, but I know it was her. Shimmerhorn is literally taking care of all the MLO people. She's a black, beautiful lady, but she was also very much tied with OSA. And it looks like she is the quote unquote MLO for all these people in the building. I do go by every once in a while with my dog to walk her just to see what's going on. Yep.
Okay, let's tackle the next one here. Jerry Nodine, aka Sarasota Jerry. What do they teach in Scientology schools? Is it just basic math and reading? What do you guys say? Sarah, did you went to a Scientology school?
Yeah. So, so when I went to a Scientology school outside of Seward, that was actually an art school. They weren't the best school as far as academics goes, but they did have a lot of arts. They didn't. They taught the subjects, but they didn't go deep into it. They had sciences, but it was mostly like you look at a book for science, and you get your basic math, you get your basic. You go through all of the learning how to learn and all the learning material. You have to do all of that in order to do the rest of the curriculum in the school. Lots of reading.
What would you say was the basis of the curriculum? Was it just geared towards what do you need to know to pass a GED test?
Probably. I mean, I feel like they had higher standards when I was younger there, and there was a lot of people who who graduated who are a lot of Scientology kids. For the most part, not everybody was. So yeah, I would say yes for the most part.
Oh, I just realized I conflated two things. I conflated young Scientology kids going to a Scientologist-run school with the schooling program that young Sea Org members did. The young Sea Org members were just trying to figure out how to pass their GED test. But
young
these
Sea
other
Org members, yes.
Yeah.
For the most part, but even then, I'd say they did a poor job of that.
Yep. It wasn't the priority.
No, even when I started blowing from school, because there was a point where I just stopped going, nobody noticed, nobody made me go. And that was just on the weekends. Yeah. And that was, it was reading and it was math, but most of the time we just kicked back and read books and gave the teacher who was Sue. Sue something. Anyway, she was a curious woman that put up with a lot of out ethics, young Sea Org members. Josh Center used to give her a really hard time.
Josh Center and Sky Center, his sister, were at the Inn Ranch.
Yeah. So Josh went to school with me, and
funny.
So we got to math, maybe mostly reading, and mostly just us kicking back, finding books we wanted to read, and hiking to Griffith Park by ourselves to do science.
I would say that for the Inn Ranch, it was completely different.
Oh wow!
Inn Ranch, it was no they would know exactly where every kid was almost within 15 minutes. Somebody didn't show up for roll call. somebody didn't do their cleaning station. Like it's literally, so it's like so hard to blow. But like when we did, it would be like, oh, we're starting the blow drill, you know? So just like we would be timing ourselves as kids, like how much time do we have to get the fuck out of here?
All right, let's take the next one. Stephanie Sandoval. How does the IRS not audit them? If they did, I'm sure they would see all the payments to private investigators, attorneys, payments to keep people quiet, etc. Yeah, exactly. The IRS don't want that smoke. They're going to need some pressure from Congress before they tackle anything like that. And that's where we come in. We'll see. We shall see. Joni Cummings, so glad to hear from such wonderful, caring people. Hope that you all stay beautiful, caring, and speaking out. Thank you so much, Joni. Barbara Mangano. It's Mangano, not Mangiano. Hey, Aaron, I'm stalking you almost as much as Osa. Barbara was over on my chat with Andrew Gold earlier. And hi, Barbara. Always good to see you, Barbara. Mangano.
That's a good one.
Patricia Patrick, how do you ever trust again after dealing with the lies and deceit, the people posing as friends, etc.? What do you guys think about this one?
I would say really quickly, like I did a little therapy on my the over the rainbow thing, and like just I was so mad. How do I process it every single freaking day? How do I deal with it every single fucking day? I could be wrong. I could be right. He could be lying to me. I could, I just got to go again with what path am I trying to choose right now? And what message am I trying to just give out so that I feel better? And that's it.
Yeah, I've got an answer. Oh, Mark, do you want to go ahead?
Well, no, I was going to say, when I left in 1990, I mean, when you're in the Sea organization and in Scientology, you don't think people are going to lie to you because they'll be turned into ethics and they'll be put on the meter. So you take people at face value. And I learned my lesson the hard way several times after leaving the Sea organization in the real world, where I just took people at face value and got burned time and time again. The worst being when Scientology set up a guy into the company we were working at. And then he became my best friend for 10 years. And literally he was reporting on me daily to OSA. And, and they did different ops against me and that type of thing. And when I finally found out in 2009 from Marty Rathman, right before the Truth Rundown series came out, he told me, oh yeah, we did this thing where we sent you to Mexico with this guy, but I don't know the guy's name. I went, what are you talking about? That's my friend Ferris. I was just on the phone with him. You know what I mean? So I outed him. I did the next round of Truth Rundown and told that story. And it's hard. It's hard to trust people. But, over time, you learn to, spot people that are trying to like overly get involved in your life. And I have my red flag indicators up now on people like that.
Yep.
So that's what I was going to kind of speak to. Is it's like being able to see patterns that are happening. Like Scientology is a very specific pattern that now, and Lara and I have talked about this. It's like now when you see it, it's like you see it and you can't unsee it. So then when it comes up again, it's very clear. That's not to say, like I've been through some stuff with some people and then the pattern could be much more below the surface. And at the same time, again, a lot of the work that I've done on myself and that I do with other people is being able to actually feel your human emotions and reactions, right? So actually, H-E-N-R, actually being able to feel your emotions and know that your emotions are there and it's telling you something. And for you to have a conversation and have discernment too, because it's like you can hear your emotion might be fear or it might be anger. And it might be because, yeah, exactly. People lied and deceived you before and this looks like that, or it's mimicking that in some way, but then being able to discern what's going on in front of you and who you are sitting with, and even just sitting with yourself and being able to feel and then also see and be clear. And yeah, again, it takes discernment and being really in your own system. So yeah, when you have things like Scientology information that's feeding into that system, yeah, then I feel like it's much more fearful. It's much harder to discern what's actually being presented to you.
Right.
I love how she said that with the it's okay to feel your body feeling like almost the trauma or the like trigger or the PTSD you're going through. And you're like, wait, why do I feel like throwing up right now? And I was totally just fine 10 minutes ago. Oh, it's because I'm talking about this shit I'm about to, like, even before these videos, Aaron, I'm sure for you, there's some things you're like, this is like, all right, I just have to do it. I said, I'm doing this video. I have to do it. But it's like, you're like, you really don't want to. And then as you're doing it, it starts to feel better. But like, yeah. Anyways, back to Sarah.
It's sometimes more harder for me to hear other people talking about things, particularly in what I would call a non-Scientology environment. Like if we were all just sitting around, okay, when in the Danny Masterson trial, when Jane Doe 3 was up there testifying as to her interactions and conversations with the ethics officer at Celebrity Center, there was something about the fact that I'm hearing this in a non-Scientology environment that somehow just like really shoves it in my face how disgusting it is. Whereas if we were all just sitting around my living room with Jane Doe 3 and she was telling that story, it would not have had an emotional impact on me. But hearing her tell that story in a non-Scientology environment just makes you just reframe everything.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think I went through it, and so did Serge, and the people who did show up whatever days they could. You sit there and so you're in this new world, but you definitely know, with all our therapy and beer drinking and friend talking, whatever our therapy might be, as you're realizing, what the fuck? I was totally taking advantage of everything. You go into court to be like, fine, haha, Scientology doesn't know shit about the fucking law and the justice system in terms of being like in the court with a human being who did the thing, you know? And then you start to see this whole other view of, holy fuck, there's a whole system here that is just being like, it could work and it couldn't work. And you're going through this, oh my God, am I going to get the best? Are the Jane Does going to get the best result out of this? Like, this is horrible. So like and we've been through severe ethics justice systems through Scientology, and they're honestly not as hard and fucking fucked up and intrusive and as like the regular law system. And it almost feels like, hey, if the regular law system would really just like wake up and see what's happening, you'll see that like this is a joke. When you try to bring a Scientology, like, why the fuck is there a case even in here regarding Scientology? Scientology is the problem. Like, do you know what I mean, Aaron? I'm trying to just say, like, it's like we go there for the support of the Jane Does and the people who have literally just had regular fucked up situations happen to them by a Scientologist. So a criminal thing happening to them in their real lives that has nothing to do with Scientology. And it only has to do with Scientology because Danny Masterson was born pretty much and raised in Scientology. Like he did this thinking he can get away with all this. And so we're trying to now use the legal system to help us get through all this shit. And we're still like, it's amazing that Aaron was documenting. That made me feel fucking safe myself, being like, fuck that, Aaron. I'm going to go meet you at the courthouse. Let's go. Like, it made me be like, let's see how dirty this system really is in terms of Scientology. Because it's not that the system can't take down Scientology. It's that they keep thinking, oh, Scientology is doing some good things. So we keep trying to interact and be good with them. And it's just not working because they're giving them donations and money. And so they're being manipulated. This is our whole childhood. This is what happened to us as kids. We were being manipulated, whether it was by our own parents or by our own friends being like, don't leave. Or my own brother writing me a letter. Like it's always restriction of what we naturally want to do and like how we want to live our lives. So from the beginning, nobody will fucking understand what we went through. And I agree. I had the same thing when I went to to alcohol meetings when I got a DUI. When I first left here, I didn't know you couldn't fucking like kind of drive drunk. I didn't know. I'm not kidding, Aaron, you little comedian. I didn't know. I thought like maybe because I didn't know the law. Like in the you're just going to pass the test at the DUI at the freaking DMV. You're not thinking like you're like, yeah, I'm never gonna be that drunk. I didn't know you couldn't just have a few drinks and then get in your car, go to the next thing you're gonna get drunk at, and then your drummer will take the car after that. It's laughable, but it's also like, Aaron, you tell me one motherfucking LA Scientologist that doesn't have a DUI. Or
I don't know. I don't
Ex-Scientologist.
live in LA. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying they're very in
Thank
LA.
God.
It's sporadic.
Thank God
Anyways,
I don't have
yeah.
a DUI.
Okay, great, Aaron. Good for you.
What?
I haven't. I got a DUI 8 years ago. I told
Can I tell you a funny story? Can I tell you a funny story?
If it's actually funny,
it'll speak to some kind of privilege that I have, whatever privilege you want to call that. Only once in my entire life have I ever been pulled over and asked to do a field sobriety test or anything, and it was a couple years ago. Like I was speeding home. I was speeding home, and they pull you over, and they're just trying to catch drunk drivers at night. And I'd had a couple beers. And anyway, so I did the field sobriety test and I passed it. And then I got back in my car and they were about to let me go. And, this is Clearwater. So like 5 cars will show up for any stop. Anyway, once there was only one car left and it was the officer, I guess, originally pulled me over. And he walks over and he puts his elbow up like we're just chilling. He's like, all right, it's just us now. He's like, you were close. You were close. And I'm like, oh, he's like, bring it in for the real talk now, brother, because we're alone. I'm like, I don't know who we is, but okay, So anyhow, only time in my entire life I've ever been asked to do anything. And so yeah, you're saying all the former Scientologists in LA have DUIs
because we weren't prepared. Look, we could laugh at it, and we do. I have friends. Ask Catherine. I have friends that we laugh about this shit. Like, we literally were thrown out and they're like, ha, let's see what you do.
Lara has one friend in particular. Well, I don't know if you're friends anymore, but I won't say their name just for the sake, but they literally, they were a racist and a bigot, and they were totally sexist, and they had no concept. They were a cadet, that had no concept of the world and like how to function in it and what it meant to be in it and what it meant to have connections and relationships with other people, like what a real one meant. And yeah, women. Definitely not with women. Yeah, like with women. Whoo,
oh my God. Like,
and very
some
inappropriate.
Of your natural mental thinking literally could be the equivalent of a psychopath/rapist.
Is this a male person or a female person?
Yes, a male. This one I know. Now I know what she's talking about after she just said all those. Like, and let me also say that this human very much holds a freaking very, like, I feel like I do understand him in a way where I did love him for so many. No, I still love him. I also see exactly where he has been, tormented by Scientology and the separation of his family. So this person we're talking about, hopefully I don't blow his shit, but I don't give a fuck. His mother was and maybe still is the Purify C at Celebrity Center.
Is this something we've spoken about before, just privately?
Nope.
Probably not.
We've never mentioned this because I didn't know if you know him, but if I said it, you'd be like, oh yeah. There's, like you said, Aaron, all Scientologists know each other. We just don't know because only certain things are kept private. Don't talk to you. Call him sir, and don't say anything to him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this person is yeah. Sara gets it. We
All right, next one here. Do you know anything about founding Church of Scientology in Washington, D.C.? Curious about the name because it opened in 2009. It seems people actually go in and out of this building very often. Let me comment on this. It didn't actually open in 2009. It got a new building in 2009, and most of the staff members there are members of the Nation of Islam. Otherwise, it's just another Scientology organization. Is there anything else you wanted to say on that there?
Well, that's where I got in Scientology, and it was originally on 19th Street, and L. Ron Hubbard and Mary Sue and the kids, they all lived across the street from it. And then the day I got into Scientology, they moved down the street to S Street, which was in the embassy area of Washington, D.C. And that's where I got into Scientology and did my training and got a lot of my early auditing and stuff was there at that organization. And it was in the 1970s, it was a big booming organization. I mean, it literally, when you went in and did the comm course, there'd be 200 people on it. Do you know what I mean? It was like a lot of people. And anyway, that was my experience with the founding church. And they called it the founding church because it wasn't the first Scientology church, but he wanted it in Washington, D.C. for PR purposes or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think they would call. Sorry, Aaron. They wouldn't call it the founding church if they didn't specifically want it to be called the Church of Scientology. There's no way that that community would ever be involved if it didn't have something to do with the Nation of Islam.
Who are you talking about? The Nation of Islam?
Yeah, and the people in that community with that. No. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I believe you.
All right. Next one here, SPT Scott. Wow. All of the ex-Scientology ladies are beautiful. Lara, Sara, Kelly, Nora. Sarah. I was like, who's Sara? Of course, Sara Salzer. Lara, Sara, Kelly, Nora, Claire. I mean, almost makes me want to join, then blow. Almost.
I wasn't ready for that one. That was funny. Also, it's not Laura, it's Lara. Like I
said Lara.
The typing in the comments said Laura with a U. There's no U in me, baby. It's just me.
It's like Lara Croft, right?
Exactly. But my mom says Lara and my dad says Lara. So, but either way, it's not Laura. It's Lara or Lara. So go fuck yourself.
All right. Well, I'm coming strong with Lara from now on.
Thank you, Aaron, who's always like, and Laura FM.
Lara. All right. Claire Alice says, great Monday night. Nice to see Mark Fisher again. He is wonderful. Sarah and Lara are hilarious. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much.
Aaron, can I just say it's law, like the law?
It's Aaron like Lara. It's Aaron
no,
like
it's like
Lara.
Aaron. It's like law. Oh, let me get you to the law. Raw.
Lara Megan Anderson.
Yes, my sweet little angel baby. Yeah, Sarah says it right. Look, I responded right away. She was like, Lara Megan Anderson.
Michelle Carpenter says added notifications for Lara's channel to SPTV Discord.
Lara.
And 157 SPs and counting all are welcome. Very, very cool. Oh, I should just, for any newcomers, you can subscribe to Lara FM on YouTube at Lara FM or at Lara Anderson Official. You can subscribe to Mark on YouTube at Our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion. You can subscribe to Sara on YouTube at Sara Seltzer or at nature.ritual. By the way, you've doubled your subscribers so far this evening, Sara. That's what
I have to mention, please pound that subscribe button on our channel or Janice is going to send me to ethics. So she wanted to make sure that I mentioned to subscribe to our channel, or it was ethics for me. So
is yours peeling the onion or who's that?
That's us. Yeah.
That's you. Okay, good. See? Yeah, I'm already subscribed.
Nice. Okay, so the next one here is Joni Cummings. I love your stories. I hope that you all know some of the stories make me laugh and cry. Yep. I've seen this live. Had to watch. Yeah, we're having a good time tonight. Claire Alice with a super sticker. Oh, freezing your project. Aaron, did I hear you ask Sara if she worked 53 hours? So there is a technical bulletin in Scientology called the Fantastic New HGC Line. We're not going to define those words right now, but I forget what CS series that bulletin is a part of. In that bulletin, it gives a schedule where one of the CSs works through the night to have all the auditing folders ready for the next day. It's not CS series 53, but whatever it is, they call it the CS series 53 schedule or the 53 line, whatever. So I wasn't asking if she worked 53 hours. I was asking if she worked the CS 53 hours, but I know I'm using the wrong number. So anyway, let's see. John Sostovsky, these Scientology stories have helped me. My never in childhood doesn't seem that bad now. Yes, indeed. Goldie says, how could you not love someone named Huckleberry? So no, his legal name was Huckleberry. Obviously everyone called him Huck, but I called him Huckleberry.
Was his last name Hound?
Huck Taylor.
Not Huckleberry Hound?
Not
you don't know that cartoon character, do you?
That was before my time, but I've heard of him.
He was raised in a cult. What does he know?
Yeah. I was raised in a cult and I was born in 1980. So both of those things.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were privileged to be watching these videos while we were not. Digging trenches.
Reading these books.
Mr.
Right,
I went to high school, like he's bragging. Like Mr. Big Man went to high school.
Okay, Mark. 1990 left, Mark.
Serge Delmar, please hide at all S high every two. Hi every to all SPs. Love, 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 love.
Me and Serge are having a live show if y'all are in LA. And also, Aaron, I was going to talk to you about this, but since we're on the live, I was going to say maybe we could stream it live from my YouTube from LA, the whole show on July 20th. That would be super fun. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll be there too. So
yep, Sarah will be there because she's going to be staying with me. I'm so excited. And Valerie Haney Light will also be staying with me. It's so fun. It's so fun. She'll be at the show. Serge will be performing with me on the show. It'll be great.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
All right. So, where's the show going to be?
I was going to say a flock of SPs at El Cid. At El Cid on Sunset. It's called El Cid on Sunset. And I think you could just Google it. And the band Lara FM goes on at 6:30 p.m. sharp. So get there early, go to my website, buy tickets, donate, and just type in when you're donating or whatever. Just type in El Cid ticket, $15 or whatever. Boom.
Coolio. Silver Dragon, follow up from the other video. Your SP sign is as crooked as your Silver YouTube award. Not crooked. There we go. Thank you.
It's the wall.
Why don't you just put them in a frame, Aaron? Why don't you put the YouTube and the SP thing?
I'm going to put that sign over
there. Right. Yeah, I think that's better.
And then
put that over there.
The play button under it, actually, so that I can sit over here when I record my videos and not
interrupt the TV.
Exactly. Okay, let's see what is next. Oh, Joe Virus. Laura never answered how they met. Did I miss it? Sarah Bueller.
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, you were like, Aaron was like, all right, let's move on.
You did get to the question. You did.
I don't think so.
You 100% answered the question.
At the art fair, Los Angeles downtown, we met.
The general answer was
actually I met you as Little Red Radio, hypothetically.
Yeah, let Sarah answer, Aaron.
Out in LA at night. I didn't know you until Art Share LA.
Do you think I was a little crazy when you first met me?
Yeah, but I was also.
Oh, but so you liked it, or were you like,
I loved it
too much, or did you like it?
No, it was just right. Especially at that time, it was just right.
Right.
Yeah, it was just
right. We're going through shit. Fuck y'all.
Yeah. I was. We were going through shit.
Yep.
Joni Cummings asks, my question is for all, since you got out of Scientology, what is your favorite thing to do outside of YouTube? Love all of you, even if we don't know each other. What are your favorite things to do?
Travel.
Aaron, who are you talking to?
All of you. You three. You
have to name one.
Okay, Mark likes to travel. Lara likes to
smoke weed. I like to eat mushrooms. I like to make music, and I love to create art and like random beautiful collages. And I love food and having beautiful hiking adventure moments.
Beautiful. Sarah Seltzer, what is your favorite thing to do?
I've loved healing, honestly. I love learning about indigenous technologies. And the word, it's funny, there's a crossover. But I've loved going, and honestly, healing, helping other people heal. Like I love it. And of course, I love creating and moving my body and making art and nature and my baby boy and my dogs. And so I mean, I love getting out in nature, close to the ground, close to the earth.
Nice.
Yes.
I like watching Netflix. Thank you for asking. Okay. Pam says there are a few Sarah Seltzers on YouTube. Which one? Much love. I think we still have it right here. Let me. I'm blocking Sarah's face here. I think
that nature.ritual.
Wait, let's go with that one. Sarah Seltzer. The handle is @nature.ritual.
Yeah, she's amazing. Guys, this is a friend of mine that literally has healed me separately. Like when I was going through the deepest shit that I literally couldn't even talk to my therapist about. And that's a hard thing to say because in an open thing, I didn't even know the things I was feeling in moments that I've been like around and with Sara, she mentioned things about my posture and things that, and I was like, oh my God, these are all things I want to be stronger at. And so it's quite incredible how when she just heals and connects with you, she's pretty much like, you know what? I could call her about a business thing and she would be like, look, and it heals me and it's beautiful. And it just gives perspective. And sometimes she'll just be like, I totally get it. And she won't even say anything. I'll be like, that's it. You just get, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. I guess that I'm just telling you. She's wonderful. She's so good with the body and like spiritual letting shit go.
You just inspired me. You just inspired me to tell the people a funny trick they can play on any person in their life who is a Scientologist. Okay.
What's that?
Let me know if you guys think this is.
Wait, is it a bad trick or to get them out of it?
You're about to find out.
Okay.
If they're talking to you, just listen very intently. Let them say everything they have to say, and then just go, I duplicate you utterly. And you will really mess with their minds. I'm sorry. Maybe that's only funny if you've seen certain Scientology films, but if you
don't think they would be like,
it's like the
you're
ultimate
acting shredding me.
It would totally throw them off. Anyway, okay, it's not the same thing you were thinking of. Maybe that's only funny if you've seen certain Scientology training films. I duplicate you utterly. Comes from, you know what? You know who would appreciate that joke? Mitch Brisker would appreciate that joke. No,
I duplicate you utterly.
It's from the different. It's not the different TR's courses and the criticisms. It's the one.
I think it's the training.
The
guy's anyway, with the thing, and he's like, I duplicate you utterly.
Yeah.
And it was like the best acknowledgement.
I guess you
after
had to be
like
there.
he broke. Yeah, I guess you had to be there.
Yeah. Thank you, Matrix Tech Solutions, Marilyn Honig, Coffee, Colts, and Crafts. Great panel tonight. Thank you all for speaking out. Your stories give me strength and courage to do the same. Much love to you all. Thank you so much, Marilyn. And you guys know, Marilyn and Chad and Juliana and Denver Stevo do a Monday Night Live after party, an after party stream. And actually, Laura, are you also going live right when we finish at 9?
Yeah. Okay, guys, so, I know you're saying 9, right?
Well,
no,
9
you're
Eastern.
Not I'm going live, and I am talking about Int Ranch stuff and whatever, and Clearwater. I'm basically talking about leaving the Int Ranch when I was leaving, and I might have Serge Del Mar on with me, and we're going to talk about being in Clearwater, and I may also have Sara if she is somehow available for that. But I go on at 7 p.m. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait, 7 p.m. your time?
My time, yeah.
Oh, 10
so we
p.m.
have
Eastern. An hour and
an hour and a half, basically, yeah.
Okay, praise Babe. Praise Xenu. Praise him. Okay, so
or her. Praise her. What if it's a her? You never finished the levels. You never knew. You should go back and finish your OT levels, Aaron.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Okay.
Or just ask Mark.
Nikita Wadman says, I was asked to do a personality test on the road. It didn't say Scientology on it. Do they operate under any other pseudonyms? I can't recall the name.
All of them.
I wonder, though, if they're doing personality tests, it's almost always.
It's the OCA. It's the OCA.
It's the Oxford capacity analysis.
You're right. It doesn't say Scientology.
No, it never does, because they don't want people to divert from it right away when they see it.
So, Nikita, that's the answer, is that it'll say Oxford Capacity Analysis Test. And, you know, some of these Scientology missions and groups are marketing themselves as like life coach, life betterment groups. You don't even know it's Scientology until you walk in the door. Real sneaky.
Kind of, yeah. And even then you're like, oh, it's a separate thing from it.
Well,
you're like,
and that's the whole thing, though.
Sarah, your earpiece is buzzing like a duck.
It's buzzing. I'm sorry, you guys.
Maybe take one out.
Is it any better right now?
It's just like, is it any better?
All right.
I wonder what happened.
Is it your headphones dying? No, baby, just check. Put on. Look get these. Go. Just do that with your phone.
Yeah, I might go do that. Yeah,
okay. Go do that, and then we'll continue.
Go. All right, we'll hold down the fort. We'll keep your seat warm.
Yeah.
Okay. Barbara Mangano wants me to know you still pronounced it wrong. It's man, like you're a man, then gan, like man, and then G, and then O. So Mangano. Wait, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Mangano.
I was right.
Okay, good. I got it. Thank you, Barbara. I'll never forget it now.
Mangano.
Goldie is trying to talk some serious shit right now, okay? She says, is it me or is that neon sign behind you a tiny bit crooked? The wall is definitely confirmed to be crooked because I built it without a level. I know she's just screwing with me. I know she doesn't think it's crooked. That sign is going to be relocated right there, and I'm going to be so happy when that happens.
And you
All
no
right.
longer will have to talk about it.
I'll no longer have to talk about it. Okay. Butch Copper. If Shelly Miscavige had died, would there not be public records available, or would Scientology somehow be able to hide or change her name? Anyone ever searched the death records? Go ahead, Mark. What's your take on this?
No, I mean, it's legally, I mean, if they did it, it's a crime. I mean, if somebody dies, they have a death certificate. If they're a Jane Doe or, that type of thing, they don't know who they are. That's one thing. But, she's known they know who she is. You know what I mean? They wouldn't just let her die and then not say anything about it. Even L. Ron Hubbard had a death certificate.
Exactly. And if she died, there would actually be no reason for them to even want to cover it up. It would at least, they would maybe even, there's literally no reason for them not to want people to know that she died. It would probably be a relief to Miscavige to be able to just prove to the world that she actually died and people can stop talking about her. But
yeah,
okay.
I wanted to mention one thing. We have a video or a live stream coming up this coming Saturday, and we are going to discuss David Miscavige and Shelly Miscavige's marriage at the Gold Base in Massacre Canyon Inn, and we have photos. Janice has unlimited resources to find these things. So you're going to see photographs from David Miscavige marrying Shelly Miscavige back in the 1980s.
Wow. And you can see that
tuned
video
Saturday at our channel, Our Scientology Stories, Peeling the Onion.
There you go. Go subscribe.
I hope I did good, Janice. I know she's watching.
She is. She's proud of you. I could tell.
Anyway,
okay.
Go ahead.
Free Xenu Project says Sarah Seltzer is up to 59 subscribers, but now it's 95. It's up to 95 subscribers. 3x. We 3x'd it.
10x.
11x. Okay. Let's get to over 100 before the chat is over. Absolutely. And just for the heck of it, since I just showed Mark's, I will show Sarah's. Subscribe to Sarah on YouTube at Sarah Seltzer or at nature.ritual. Bada bing. Oh, and then of course Lara FM. I got to show Laura's now too, right?
No,
Laura,
we've
Lara
done that enough on this already.
Okay, fine, we did it.
I mean, they're like, yeah, we get it, Laura. We get it.
All right, let's see. Lori Plays says,
Sarah, you're muted, but I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, thank you. I was excited about your excitement. I was like, she's muted, but she's happy.
Lori says, I was a DUI investigator a few years before I started having kids and went back to day shift. I would have gotten you a ride, Laura.
You know what can I just comment on this? This has pissed me off so much because I knew nothing about the outside world. And I finally found Little Red Radio as my beautiful band to like just go off and be wild and fucking sing and fucking learn about life. I didn't know that it was teaching me that, but it was. I was singing about partying and not like we weren't attacking Scientology. I wasn't talking about my feelings. It wasn't about that. I was just, anyways.
What is Little Red Radio?
Little Red Radio was the only band and first band I've ever been in, which was with Jason Spallino, who was a former Scientologist, and the drummer Eli James also had people in Scientology in his family. And Jason Bradley was like the keyboard player, trumpet, but he also produced the songs with Jason. And that's how I got involved. I was like, oh, you guys are making cute music. Maybe, I could sing on this. And then we became a band, had a show at like a gay club in a warehouse downtown without even having a band name. Exactly. I had forgotten about Scientology. I'd forgotten. I was like, oh, I'm learning what gay people are. Oh my God. I'm like it, and they love what we're doing. And we look so scared and they think we're like edgy. Like, and we are fucking edgy and dope and cool, but it fucking took me forever to realize it. It was like, yeah.
Nice.
Anyways. So yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Not just, I don't know. What is this, guys? Not just.
Did you see CC Suarez on Mon? Are you reading the right thing?
I was trying to read the handle name, but
Yeah.
Not just our. Oh.
I don't know what this comment means. Does anybody else? I don't know what CC Suarez means. I don't know what Monat is, and
I think Monet is a singer, and I think did you see CC Suarez on Monet and Scientology? No, obviously none of us have.
Does anybody actually know what this means?
I kind of do. Monet is a singer, like a really famous. Anyways, maybe I'm totally wrong, so I don't want to. Yeah, nope, we don't know what you're talking about. We love you.
All right. SPT Scott says, Lara, sorry, geez.
Okay.
All right, Luis Rapeto says it's the CS Series 25 line. That makes sense.
Sara knows what that is.
Yes, no, that like rings a bell for me. Now
Yes,
I'm like,
indeed.
okay,
The fantastic new HTC
Thank you.
line. Okay.
thank you.
Joe Virus says, my wife, Rain Virus, Lara, just shouted at the TV in Unity about Lara, not Laura. There you go. Joni Cummings, I can't choose between Mark and Aaron. What on earth are you talking about?
Who they like more?
Which haircut, which hairstyle they prefer?
No, they're just
Joni.
like, God, who do I listen to if they're both live at the same time?
I
You
think
know,
she's talking
Aaron,
about
I
which
posted
chat
a
to be on.
photo. Aaron, I posted a photo when we went on that cruise where you were smoking a cigar with Mark Headley and God, I can't remember the other guy's name. But anyway, and you had hair, and somebody commented like, "Oh my God, there's Aaron with hair." At the time.
Nuh-uh. When was that?
Yeah, you were close. It was when we went on the cruise. I don't know about.
Oh,
5,
it's
6
before
years
I
ago.
actually full
Yeah,
on
before you
shaved
started
my
shaving
head.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
down the sides.
All right, we can pretend that picture doesn't exist.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes.
So we don't have to talk about this right now. At some point, you're going to have to talk to me about our captain. I just
John
realized
Lundeen?
that. Oh my gosh, yeah. He was like, anyway, I just realized you're like the
John
one person
Lundeen.
who
Oh
can
my
talk to me
God.
about him because he was,
Do it now.
I don't know. He was just, it was like, he was kind of an anomaly, and he would tell these like deep stories about looking at the stars with LRH, right? And then he had this like almost like nice demeanor about him that was like very kind. And then at the same time, you like if you saw him angry, he'd get like really red in the face, and you just like you knew you were not going to be around him. Well, I realized like you're the only person who could really answer like what was he really like? Like who was he?
Yeah. We should dig into that later, but I'll tell you one of the craziest things John Lundeen did, aside from physically attacking people on many occasions, was, and this is when COB, it was known that the RTC was coming down really hard on ASHO for not having all of its course rooms open.
I remember when RTC used to come through, like they were coming through.
They would come through like once an hour. And John was furious as a longtime Sea Org executive that he was being bypassed in such a way as to make him almost irrelevant. Like management was basically running his organization essentially. And so John, he would walk through the course rooms all the time, and he was in the BC practical course room with Huck Taylor, and he saw Jim Plett just like doing something other than actively and attentively supervising the course room. And he just knew that if it had been David Miscavige who walked through that course room right now, John Lundeen would probably be scrubbing, toilets with a toothbrush. And John, in the middle of the BC practical course room, just screamed at the top of his lungs something like, "Can you run the fucking course room?" or something like that. It's the most insane thing that you could ever do in a Scientology course room. Like, yes, Sea Org members scream at each other all the time. Not in the middle of a course room with paying public. You do that in an office. You do that somewhere else.
Quiet.
I mean, that was the BC course room too. That's like
that was the St. Hill special briefing course, practical course room. Doing something like that in any other context could get you RPF'd. And the captain of the org did that. And honestly, because of how much pressure he was personally under, once Miscavige,
it's amazing how much David Miscavige rubbed off on these people, because I knew John Lundeen in the 1970s when he was at the Flag Service Org, and he was in charge of the technical call-in line, and he was a sweetheart. He was a really nice guy, and he was very effective, and he was a upstat producer. I mean, big time. And his wife Edie, she was a technical term. But the way you describe him, that's Miscavige rubbing off on these people, and basically they go into his valence or beingness, whatever you want to call it. It's a Scientology word, basically becoming Miscavige. It's just crazy.
Yeah, totally true. Totally true. All right, we have 10 minutes. Let's bang out. I don't like leaving any super chats unresponded to, so I think we can do this here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gerald Mitchell, love all the amazing stories you were all sharing from your hearts. Most of all, thanks so much for making us all laugh so much. I mean, that really is. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun.
Yes.
Eat More Pizza Now says, "What is your favorite pizza place?" Asking for a friend. Do you guys have any favorites?
I have two.
Go ahead.
Pizzanista, downtown Los Angeles. They're like connected to this bar called Tony's Bar, which I have been a fan of forever. And right next door, they have the pizza, and they're like amazing. They're awesome. They're like old school skaters. They have like Rolling Stone tongues on the wall, and they just make you any kind of pizza. Like it's all there. Whatever you want is there. And then another one's another one. But yeah, Raffola's
Wait.
right down the street.
Did you say right next to like the old Echoplex over there? Wait, is that?
Oh, that's a great place too. They actually changed the thing by maybe still the
Was
same
it Two
owner,
Boots?
Yep, but they're not that anymore. It's something else.
Okay.
But I was talking about Pizzanista. You know Pizzanista
Oh,
downtown
I do know
by
Pizzanista.
Tony's.
I totally know
I was like,
Pizzanista.
Sarah and
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
go there and play ping pong and destroy people at ping pong.
In Las Vegas, my favorite pizza place is called Pizza Rock, and it's by a guy named Tony G. I'm not going to pronounce his last name, but he won like the pizza making contest in Italy many times. He's been featured on the Food Network, and he started his first one in Sacramento, and then he opened up one in downtown Las Vegas, and he's in a couple other locations. But the pizza, they have every style of pizza: New York style, Chicago, Detroit, you name it.
Yes. Well, I'm not a pizza snob. I'm pretty lowbrow when it comes to pizza. So for the longest time, my favorite was Hungry Howie's with the pepperoni and the garlic butter crust. But then they raised their prices, and that really pissed me off. So I boycotted those guys. But now my cute little daughter works at Little Caesars Pizza, and so now Little Caesars is my favorite, and I get this stuffed cheese pretzel crust with the cheese sauce. And you can barely even call it pizza, but you know they do, and I think it's delicious.
And I bet you they like let you change it a little. You're like, oh, we can. Oh, sure. Like,
oh, I don't change it. I don't order off the menu. I'm not a snob. I mean, come on. I mean,
well,
I
am.
stick to the menu. Come on now.
I'm all extra garlic, extra pineapple, and black olives. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. All right. Sarah S says, hi from another Sarah S. How many SSs are SPs? Oh boy.
Only two, probably. You two.
Okay. Barbara Mangano says, I'm changing my name on my phone to Tampa B-Man just to F with you. Tampa B-Man is her other, what she comments under. I'm never going to forget it now. Barbara Mangano. Patrick Schultz, do you guys know the band Dead Sara?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are going to love this. Go ahead. What do you guys have to say about Emily Armstrong and Dead Sara?
Sarah, you want to go first? No. Sarah, so Emily, who is the lead singer of Dead Sara, was a cadet and was raised, and her mother currently works for OSA. Our favorite people, OSA. Type in there if you're listening.
And Emily is openly gay, right? Openly.
Hold on. Whoa. No, this did not happen until maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
Emily was definitely not open and gay, and I'm not going to be here to tell her story if she ever does leave the trap of her mother being in Scientology, because I don't even believe Emily is a Scientologist to a degree. The only thing I do know is that her band, Susie Q Medley, I think her last name is, her father is Stan Medley, who has deep connections into Scientology financially and with whatever he has going on, and there should be an investigation done on that. But definitely he was the promoter and the moneymaker in front of Emily Armstrong, who's the lead singer of Dead Sara. I love Emily Armstrong. I love Dead Sara. I love Sean Friday, the drummer. I love Susie, the bass. Yep.
Sean Friday's the drummer. He was on
and
the
he dated Demi Moore.
What?
Oh, yeah. See, you're missing out, Aaron. Y'all need to catch up.
So
Anyways,
I remember. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can do your own research, Aaron. So there's a lot of this, and there's a lot like of grooming, I would say, and this is all I can say, of people being like, how would somebody ever get involved with Scientology? How would Demi Moore be okay with dating somebody who's a hardcore Scientologist who almost joined the Sea Org? And then they have this beautiful magic relationship. And then now Emily, the lead singer, is allowed to be gay and be open. Yo, this was not okay. Literally 5 years ago. This was fucking 1.1 covert. Go to ethics. You don't talk about this. You handle this in session. We're going to handle your aberrated. So this is favoring. So Emily actually really is an incredible rock singer. She's dope as fuck. Her mind is dope. She makes great music. I personally, as a human, love Emily. We were good friends. We were really good, like, association, I guess, again, like Sara and I talked about earlier about, like, when you leave, you get to know certain cadets. We were all friends. We were all cadet friends. I was there when Emily was jamming with her tunes. I was singing with her. She wrote this song that I love, and it gets stuck in my head randomly when I'm, like, cleaning or doing something at work. Like, so yes, they are definitely controlled by the bubble of Scientology, simply, I would say, based on the fact that Susie Medley is her dad. She's the bass player and backup vocals or whatever in Dead Sara. And her dad is Stan, who has been, like, supporting Emily and the band and them. And Emily would live at Stan's house. And there's a lot more to that. All this shit would happen. As long as you're a Scientologist, you're invited to Stan's house, like, whatever. And so eventually, I'm sure she was allowed to be gay, and all this is being okay and groomed, but it's all not okay. It's never okay, but they're doing it for specific people who have mothers in OSA who they cannot lose on their positions.
Yep.
So yes, do I think Emily's not an amazing rock star? And the band Dead Sara is awesome, amazingly awesome. They're fucking dope and they're great. Would I love to see a version of Dead Sara and Emily not in Scientology and what they would do now if they could just be open? Holy fuck, yes. I think
is there anyone is there anyone in that band who's not a Scientologist?
Yeah, I think every once in a while they hire, but they definitely know, oh, this band definitely, they're all involved in Scientology, so I'm not going to talk shit. Yeah, like they might hire a side bass player or guitar player or whatever, whoever they're working with, but the band definitely is all involved Scientology, whether they like it or not. They're definitely.
Amazing. Free Xenu Project says, hey, Aaron, I know you like to be lazy and you're a perfectionist, but even if you move the signs, won't the wall still be crooked? Yeah, that's okay. I don't have to fix the wall. Dave Bowen says, I don't see Lara's cat slinking around. Where's your kitty cat?
Bubs, come. Bubbies. Bubs. Let's see what happens. You can read the next one until then.
All right. Joni Cummings says, if I'm going to read this, you got to mute yourself. If you're like, Bobby. Okay. Lara. Joni Cummings says, Lara, you got it when you said which one is live. Both men are so awesome and their stories are so great. I subscribe to Lara and Sara's channel. And thanks to everyone here for letting me realize I don't want to be in Scientology.
Yes.
Indeed.
Bobby,
well, guys, we did not have timed it.
Just kidding.
Oh my God. Okay. We could not have timed it any better. It's been pretty much exactly 2 hours. And yeah, we finished up all the super chats. So let me see. Actually, here's an interesting one. Let's just tackle this since we have 2 minutes left or whatever.
Tackle that. Bubs was behind me the whole time.
Hey,
guys.
grab him.
I just didn't realize. It's her. Thank you. Bubbies, come here.
All right. Steve Britton asks, how in the hell do you come up with that kind of cash to pay the freeloader debts? This is a very common question. So, Sara, you said yours was maybe $2,000 or so. You left the Sea Org at about 16 years old or whatever's. How did you pay your freeloader debt?
Well, let's see. I stopped going to school in high school and worked full time. That's how I did it, because what was more important was that rather than getting an education outside of Scientology.
Wow. It wouldn't be a live stream if my battery didn't die. Mark, did you pay?
Head over to Lara FM's thing.
Mark, did you pay a freeloader debt?
I had a freeloader debt when I was 17. I went and joined the Sea Org in 1976. David Miscavige was my roommate. He had just joined the Sea Org a month before. And within 3 weeks, I basically decided this wasn't for me. And so I basically just routed out, left. This is 1976. And all I had done was the Welcome to the Sea Org Tapes course. And I got a freeloader debt of $3,000. And I basically worked it off just like Sara did. And I got a bank loan and paid that off. And then I was able to rejoin the Sea Organization in 1978.
Wow. So when I first left staff at the age of 17 years old, I had a $100,000 freeloader debt. I knew I was never going to pay that debt, which is why, when I was 17, I moved to Hollywood. And that's why I didn't really have anything to do with Scientology for a couple of years when I was living in LA at that time, because I couldn't. I had a freeloader debt. So, but I still considered myself a Scientologist. So eventually I was like, I'm never going to be able to pay this debt. So I have to go back and finish my contract. So I went back to Philadelphia, finished another 3 years on my contract. Now, at the end of that contract, I was 20 years old and I had just bought a house. This is when they were giving away money. I had a job. So I worked at the org nights and weekends, but my day job, I was working at Blue Cross Blue Shield, AmeriHealth, in enrollment. And just the fact that I could document, I don't know, $30,000 a year of income, I got 100% financing on a house. Now, when I joined the Sea Org, I kept my house because all the bedrooms in my house were rented out by Philadelphia staff members. So I couldn't really sell my house. It would have screwed up all the staff members. So by the time I left the Sea Org 4 years later, I still had this house that had appreciated. I had a bunch of equity in the house. And I basically refinanced the house to pay off my freeloader debt. And that was, so my wife's debt and my debt combined was still probably something close to $100,000, but we negotiated it down to a mere $40,000. And so my wife was in the Sea Org for like 14 or 15 years. I was in the Sea Org for 4 years. And after all that time, we owed them $40,000 and we paid it. Absolutely insane. That is something the federal government should really, that is a major element of human trafficking, is making someone indentured to you in that way where they have a financial disincentive to leave, So, all right, everyone.
Aaron,
go ahead.
Can I just say one last thing? One of the things when I went to move from a different job, I used to work for Grant Cardone, and then I ended up moving like jobs because the neighbor needed help. And I was kind of like, hey, if I don't get enough hours at this job with Grant Cardone, sending off these sales books to car dealerships on how to sell. So psycho. It reminded me of like Scientology events. Anyways, I was just like, so I was like, if I don't get enough work here, I have to like go find another job. Like this is not enough. But I was so comfortable working in Scientology companies that I didn't want to like go do anything else. And then in that mix, I ended up working for the neighbor. And in that time, she would just be like watching science and films and all these things as a natural thing while I'm like doing personal assistant work for her and like like good. I'm good at everything. Tell me what to do. Give me a list of shit to do. I'm good at it. Give me a program. I'm good at it. Like I'm so Sea Org. I'll get it done. Do it quick now. She's like, oh, I love this. She just does everything. So there's times every time she would take a break between like a certain amount of hours during every day, and she would be watching natural like History Channel stuff. And I was, oh my God, I can't wait till I have to cut up the fruit. I was like so excited, like, oh, I get to learn. Like, and so like as I'm learning, and then anyways, back to the freeloader debt, she was kind of like, you're working 6 days a week for me. And like you're taking Monday off. Like it's not like Saturday, Sunday. I take Monday off. And like she was like, how are you just so available? And like, where's all your money going? Kind of, And it was like I borrowed money from Dustin's sister, a guy I dated when I was underage who was a Scientologist.
Dustin Kasowitz?
Yes. And he made me date him for like, I think 3 months or something under this like spell because I had a non-interpolation order from leaving the Sea Org. And because during a New Year's Eve party one time, I was kind of drunk. I probably had one drink, but I was drunk. I was drunk. I was like a young little girl. And I made out with this other person, Jason Wood, who you probably know. Sara, you're muted, but I hear you and see your
Jason
reaction.
Wood.
Yeah, who his brother Joe Wood later on in my life gave me the room at the art share. His Joe Wood was like, "Hey, Megs, do you want a room?" Megan is my middle name, but Lara is my first name, and that's how I was like, "That's gonna be my singer name then." Nobody knows because I didn't want to associate Scientology with my name. Like with Megan, I was like, Megan, but it didn't. No, I didn't not want to. It just grew out like that, and eventually I was like, well, my real name is. I think my drummer Eli at the time made a joke on tour, like, actually her name is Lara, and I was like, all like embarrassed, like, don't stop. I want people to know I'm Megan. That's just what I was comfortable
Lara,
with.
remind me this week we have to chat about you working for Grant Cardone.
Oh my God. And we need to either I'm going to do it with you, Aaron, or should I do my own? You can answer me now. Should I do my own on my own channel, my own video about the over the rainbow consequences? I did talk to Jeff, the producer.
We can do that tomorrow. We can do that tomorrow too. Okay.
I'm going to do another thing tonight about the Int Ranch. If you guys are watching, whoever's watching now, I'm going to go on at 7 p.m. LA Lara time. And then talk about leaving the whole situation of leaving the Int Ranch and going to Clearwater to then officially join the Sea Org, and the whole like mindset on that, and the cadets and the young children that were involved in that.
Yeah. All right, everyone, that is it for us this evening. Before we say goodbye, let me just remind everybody, you can subscribe to Lara on YouTube at Lara FM, at Lara Anderson Official. Subscribe to Mark at Our Scientology Stories, Peeling the Onion. Subscribe to Sara at Sara Seltzer or at nature.ritual. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks to everyone who watches until the very end, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
If you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe